What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show. Me, Sean Sheehan, here on Sherdog.com, and I am after the bell following the 2025 PFL World Tournament 6 Semifinals, which went down in the Intrust Bank Arena in Wichita, Kansas on Friday night, June 20th, 2025. And it was another good showing from the PFL. Not as many, I suppose, of the big, heavy knockouts as we've been used to throughout this year, but a lot of submissions and a lot of kind of close decisions as well, with some good technical fights. I enjoyed it. It was a different sort of night. You know, it wasn't your, you know, if you're looking at cards of the year towards the end of the year, you probably wouldn't be looking at this one. But if, you know, you were looking for a technical, good showcase of mixed martial arts to someone, yeah, didn't this be it? So I enjoyed it an awful lot. It was on earlier as well. I'm here. It's not even 4 a.m. yet, and I'm doing my my post show. So that's always a good sign. Now I'm over in Ireland, so it's a little bit different for me. But an earlier start time, I think it's really good. Do you know what? There seemed to be more gossip and talking and joking and appreciation online during this card, and I can't really remember of the rest of them this year. And I wonder, is that because of the earlier time? I wouldn't discount that at all. So I actually do think, you know, it's something I've criticised. Who have I criticised? I suppose the people online, maybe, for not talking about it that much in the past. But I think today was different. There was a lot of buzz for this card online. Maybe the Friday night is a good thing too. I think I know I'm probably preaching to people. I'm definitely preaching to people who know more about this than me. But I believe the NHL is over now, isn't it? The NBA, I think there's one left, but there was no game tonight. Obviously, there's no NFL at the moment. You know this. You know, what else is there? There's soccer at the moment, but I suppose it's no one really cares about this World Tournament that's going on. So, you know, kind of and I'm sure there was something on, maybe, you know, SmackDown or something like that in WWE, but free night basically for the PFL, and I think they took advantage of it. And you know, it's one thing I suppose everyone had said, it's easier said than done, you know, it's to organise these cards, but if they could get on nights where there's very little else on, I think it could be a real benefit for them. And yeah, honestly, I think this was. So it was great stuff, good buzz online, and not a bad card either. Let's talk about it. You know what's interesting as well on this card? There was a lot of fights with a lot of jeopardy. You know, my colleague over the Sphere, my podcast, Graham, loves to use the word jeopardy, and the reason he uses it, the reason we talk about it so often on over there, but over here as well, is because it feels like with the UFC these days, the you know, the word jeopardy is used sparingly. You know, obviously we have the big title fights and we have number one contender fights, but it feels like there's a lot of fights that have a lot of jeopardy for obviously the people involved, but for the people watching, you know, when we're talking about the top five or the championship, but no, there isn't really much. Whereas on this card, and this is the joy of the tournament too, I saw, you know, I saw Nolan King, a great respect for Nolan, I think my journalist of the year for the last couple of years, he was talking about, you know, they should get rid of the tournament. But if they got rid of the tournament format, there would be 6 fights on this card that wouldn't have like large jeopardy. So there was 6 on this, and then there was like the number one contender fight. Whether it is or not, I don't know, between Archie Colgan and Mansour Banoui. And they all had big jeopardy. They all meant something. The second the fight was over, the winner, anyway, it's different for the loser, so I was going to be a case for the loser, but the winner knew what was next. They almost, you know, they might know the date within a couple of days or a week or whatever. That's brilliant. You know, 7 fights in a card. Imagine 7 fights in the UFC card where the person knows exactly what's next, or exactly what it's earned them, or exactly what it's got them. Just, I love if people just heard my last 2 or 3 sentences there and goes, well, actually, hold on. That's true, yeah. That's true. We don't really get that in the UFC, but we do get in the PFL, so that's the joy of the PFL. And for, you know, and as I was just about to mention as well, there was 3 weight classes on here, so the 6 people that went into the finale after these fights that happened tonight, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they go. But that's chat for another day, I suppose. Let's get into the fights and let's talk about it. There's a lot to run through here. And let's start with the main event. We'll go down. Gadzi Rabadanov took on Kevin Lee. it was, do you know what? Kevin Lee came out and he looked in phenomenal shape, looked in great shape, turned up all the interviews and stuff beforehand. He seemed really up for it. He seemed, you know, like a guy who had his head together and all of that. And the second the fight started, I said to myself, Jesus, I don't know, does Kevin Lee look massive or does Rabadanov look small? Like, I was thinking to myself, just imagine Rabadanov down at 145. Now, I don't know if it was that, or I'm honestly still not sure. And I know Kevin Lee has fought up, and he was, what was he saying? It was 3 years since his last lightweight fight. It feels like that's hard to fathom, but maybe it is. Maybe I got the wrong end of that, but he looked way, way bigger. And, you know, my prediction before this was a kind of a quick finish for Rabadanov, and I thought he would win, you know, pretty comprehensively, pretty early. And when I kind of saw Lee like that, I was thinking to myself, hold on, well, let's watch here for a second. Yeah, and that was about as good as it got for poor old Kevin Lee. So Rabadanov opened with a 3-punch combination, and, you know, watching some tape of him again last week, just the speed of this guy, the accuracy of this guy is unbelievable, you know. But that was good to start off. But then Kevin Lee landed a nice jab. And I was thinking to myself, right, he's kind of settled in here a little bit. He's kind of fighting along. Is he going to try to be the bigger man, maybe go for a takedown? But then he got dropped by a jab from Rabadanov, which was just, again, well placed, right down the middle, right in the middle of your face. And that was basically the fight over there. It went on for another few minutes. But, you know, Kevin Lee got back up. He took one more shot. He was obviously still hurt. And then there was kind of he kind of dodged the shot or just moved away. And he started skating. And then he fell over. And he was in bad peril, in bad trouble. You know, Rabadanov was just throwing loads. Dropped him again with a right hand. He was landing so many shots. Like, he kept throwing these the uppercuts, which, funny enough, we saw a few times during the night, a few different versions of the uppercuts, but he was landing some nice ones in there, and a lot of right hands as well. Lee got a bit more settled in. The time isn't up here in front of me. I'll look for it here in a second, but little more settled, you know. But then 3-punch combo again from Rabadanov knocked Lee. He was up against the cage. Do you know what? I'm not actually sure what landed. Something short inside. He kind of got pushed back a bit, and as he came out, he just landed face planted. And the referee, Jason Herzog, at that stage, had seen enough. I think in a fight like that, when you face plant at the end after getting rocked 3 times, after getting dropped twice, maybe 3 times, the ref has seen enough at that stage. It was 2:37 in the first round, so, you know, in the first minute and 37, it was all the hurt. For maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds after that, Kevin Lee kind of resumed himself, got back to fighting, and then it kind of turned bad for him again. But, you know, Kevin Lee is obviously a guy who's not, I don't want to say any 32 or something, but he's had the best years of his career. Sometimes it's not about the age, it's about, you know, the amount of wear on the tires. And Kevin Lee has had a good bit of that at a very, very high level. And it's, when you fight a guy like Adzi Rabadanov who can do it all, but cannot, most importantly for this fight especially, and for this opponent especially, strike the way he does, with the accuracy and the power the way he does, there's no way Kevin Lee can stand up to that ever again. It's just not possible for him to stand up to that. So that's very, very unfortunate for Kevin Lee. But the other side of it, in for Rabadanov, you know, it's one of those fights, it's very hard to look at it on its merits for Rabadanov, because, like, Lee, I suppose, so diminished. If Lee was in his prime, you know, I still think Rabadanov would dominate, but I feel like it might be, you know, a 2-round, 3-round fight, maybe go to a decision or something like that. But probably a little bit earlier, because Rabadanov is so special. But having said that, like, Rabadanov still looked special. Like, I was texting my colleague Ian O'Neill, and he used the phrase, he didn't put a step wrong. And that's absolutely true. Like, when, you know, he dropped him, then attempted to finish him, then when he knew he wasn't finishing him, took a step back, re-established everything, did it again, and then the next time he finished him. That's That's what you call class, and that's pure and utter class. And that's exactly what Gabzi Rabadanov is. He's a class fighter, and this was an absolutely brilliant performance. So, commiserations to Kevin Lee. Obviously, he went in there and he gave it his all on somewhat short notice, but Gabzi Rabadanov is one of the best lightweights, one of the best fighters in the world. There's no doubt about that, and he goes on to the final. We will talk about his opponent in a few minutes. We'll go fight by fight here, and let's talk about Liz Carmouche versus Elora Dana next. This one went to decision. It was a bit of a longer fight, but a very, very exciting fight. You might think, Liz Carmouche, she's been around now for a long time. Maybe there'll be a lot of wrestling here, and we saw Dana, her striking acumen before. Maybe she just dominated her. No, that's not what happened. I'll be honest. I'll go through the fight here in a second. But the story of this fight is that Liz Carmouche just wanted a bit of a set two, a bit of a knock, as Cian Cowley would say, a bit of a fight. She just at the very start of the fight. So let's get into it. So Liz came into range and she was throwing shots. Then Elora Dana clinched her, but Liz got on top from the takedown attempt, and then Carmouche, this is exactly where you think she would be wanting to be against a good striker. She just stood up and let Elora Dana up, and then just kind of went to war. Dana kind of low kicked Liz in, and she stumbled a little bit. She went for a standing arm triangle in a bit of a clinch, and then that went to the clinch. There was a body lock takedown for Dana, but again Liz landed on top, and this time she kind of went into half guard. Dana went for a triangle, but went for a triangle, wasn't there, but she got slammed anyway, which is kind of amazing considering the triangle wasn't in. That's how much power Liz Carmouche actually has. Liz got to the guard in, and Dana had a massive hematoma right in the middle of her head, right in the side of her head, maybe. Right there, above her eye. Above her right eye, was it? Right eye, yeah. So that looked very nasty, shades of Mark Hominick, as I said in commentary. But they got up and clinched again, and she caught Liz with something. I think it must have been something short inside again, and Liz's nose was bleeding. Liz landed some lovely knees and elbows in the clinch. Went for a bit of a headlock throw late, did Liz, who definitely won that round, based on the slam, based on all the big shots she landed on top, and the hematoma she caused with her shots in the guard as well. In the second round, Liz was on her jab. Elora Dana was kicking. Dana landed a big right hand, went for a takedown and got it in the middle of the cage. She went for the takedown and she didn't get it. Ended up with a clinch in the middle of the cage where it was a really, really good old school Muay Thai clinch where they both landed knees inside. Very good stuff. And when they broke in, Elora Dana landed a lovely body kick, and then Liz landed this check hook. And she landed this check hook over and over and over throughout the night. They kind of shared a clinch dominance then for a while until Liz eventually got a body lock takedown, and she landed in top half, landed some ground upon, got to the crucifix and landed some nice elbows. And then again, stood up for the last few seconds, and in the last 10-15 seconds Liz Carmouche landed, I counted 5 hard shots, one good elbow in there. So Liz Carmouche, again, she had the position on the ground, got up and landed shots, and she was 2018 up at this stage, and I've written here in my notes, she's just determined to have a fun one, and she absolutely was. In the third round then, Liz landed a hook kick, front leg hook kick from the start, but Dana landed maybe for the first time in this fight a straight shot down the middle, and she landed a couple more after it. But I was thinking, that's probably a good shot to land against Liz, where she is hooking so much. Now it might get you countered as well, and that's kind of what happened. They both landed some good shots in the exchange, and Liz was absolutely happy to brawl again. She landed that check hook as Dana waded in, but Dana was better when she wasn't wading in. She was picking her shots, but she did tend to wade in. Liz landed some nice leg kicks, as she did throughout the fight, and then Dana landed a nice right hand. But midway again, Liz got the clinch, and both looked a bit tired here. The midway point of the third round, Dana, after the clinch, looked a bit sloppy, and Liz again landed probably the easiest check left hook. She landed a few rights as well, but this was a left after that. Liz landed 2 lovely hooks after the clinch late, and she was just banging late again and won that third round as well. So 30-27 for Liz Carmouche. Pretty straightforward win for her there, but fantastic performance, and she goes into the finale. We had a showcase fight then. I'll run through this one pretty quick. Archie Colgan against Mansour Barnawi. This is a pretty good fight, to be honest. Barnawi was very long and he was landing well. I was actually a little bit surprised. I thought Colgan might be the one to start a little bit quicker, but no, it was Barnawi. Although, he has started quick in the past, but he got a Muay Thai clinch. He landed some hard knees in that Muay Thai clinch, and from the same one then, Colgan kind of took over and landed right hands over the top like a bit of a hockey fight. Barnaby was connecting with a load of left hands, and Colgan landed a few of his own, but a knee to the body by Barnaby in the middle of that round was really, really big. But Colgan never went away. He landed a right hand of his own, and they both kind of landed some strikes in the exchange. And I think there was a point maybe towards the 3 or 4 minute mark of the round where I realised it, and they said it on commentary as well, that Barnaby's just not taking these shots as well as Colgan was. Archie got a big dump takedown late as well, and Barnaby's face was bleeding after some big ground and pound. So close first round, but I gave it to Archie. Barnaby was trying to establish the jab at the start of the second, and he did. Archie went for a single leg takedown then, and got it. But Barnaby got up and he caught the neck on the break. But again, nothing there. It was funny that Barnaby's mouthpiece fell out. He put it back in, it fell out again, and then it was on the ground for like a minute. And then in the middle of a clinch, he snuck his hand under Colgan, picked up his own mouthpiece and put it back in while they were grappling. So that was a bit mad. On the second occasion as well, his mouthpiece fell out. Like, Colgan pushed forward, pushed him against the cage, took him down, and landed some big elbows. He went for an arm triangle then, looked pretty tight, and he just refused to tap. We've seen Barnaby before. He's not the tapping type. Archie landed a hard elbow in, and then Barnaby went for this Americana with his legs as Colgan was on top of him. Looked nasty. Those ones you rarely think, he's going to tap, but I don't know, went through my mind for a second, but he didn't. He got through it, got back up. Barnaby landed a nice knee, and he was winning the strike, and Archie looked a bit tired. Again, a close round. I think some of the shots, when Archie Colgan was on top in the midway point to that, where I didn't really mention it much, but after around the time of the head and arm choke, he did get on top, landed some big shots. There was just that straight arm bar as well. If you'd given it to Barnaby, I wouldn't be too mad, but I thought it was a Colgan round. In the third round then, Barnaby came out and landed some long shots again and hurt Colgan, and then he went for the guillotine, but Archie stood up and slammed him down from that position, got into the top mount, landed some big elbows. Did Barnaby? Actually, Barnaby got into the mount, landed some big elbows, and Colgan at this stage, he looked gassed to me. I was like, oh, this is going to be it for him, but he reversed him like Randy Couture described it as like a turtle turning over, which was pretty accurate, I suppose. And Archie got into top half, landed some nice elbows. Barnaby nearly got a sweep, but he didn't. Colgan was strong on top, landed a few short elbows, and he jumped on Barnaby then, who almost got out, got into the right position, took his back, got into the mount as he turned it around into the half guard for the last minute, and landed some lovely elbows, and that was enough for Colgan to win that round, and it was enough for him to win the fight as well and get the unanimous decision. So there was a tweet went out the other day saying this was the number one contender for Usman or Magomedov's title. We'll see what Paul Hughes to say about that. Let's put it that way. So, but Archie Colgan has put himself right in there and right in the mix, no doubt about that at all. We Jake Hadley versus Marceli Alves then, and this was maybe the shocking fight of the night. I did in the preview show, and I picked Hadley, and I did the betting show, and I was like, well, I don't know, but I bet in Hadley at that price, even though it was relatively close. And the closer I got to this fight, and I watched a good bit of Alves, I don't know, I just had a feeling Alves was going to land a big shot and knock him out, and he didn't. But by God, he did. He did everything you could do without doing it. So they both started out southpaw. Jake was moving a lot, but Alves reddened Jake's face with his first shot. No, the jab battle was very even. Throughout the first 2 to 3 minutes of this, there was a lot of jabs, a lot of good jabs, both with the same amount of power. But the big difference here was the backhands. The backhand from Alves was just so much more impactful. He was hitting the body too. They both threw a few leg kicks. Alves rocked him twice with turning left hands, you know, kind of the obviously fighting out of the southpaw. The people give out to me before for calling them hooks, but let's go with a turning left hand in, even though I still call it a hook. It's not a lead hook, it's a hook. Anyway, Adley was doing better than kind of midway through it, but then Alvarez just went to the body again and landed loads. And, you know, Jake landed a couple of shots to the body, but they were just not with the same ferocity. And I was thinking to myself towards the end of that first round, it was like Hadley lands 1, Alves lands 3, and that's no good when you're fighting a guy as powerful as Alves. In the second round, then Alves came out even more attacking. Jake went for a takedown, but it was like batted away. You know, I kind of looked up and I was like, is he going for it? Oh, the takedown's gone. It didn't even happen, you know. Alves landed hooks off both sides. I'm sticking with the hooks off both sides. Landed a lovely, I mentioned the uppercut in the main event. He, again, front hand, backhand uppercuts. That big bolo punch that tends to be landed a couple of them in the third as well. But in the second, after that takedown didn't happen, Jake got real swollen to the body. And Alves just boxing him up, dropped him hard with a 1-2. Jake was backing up. He kind of fails on the takedown again. Alves landing big, and Jake's eye was bleeding at this stage. Just some lovely combo stark domination. I thought it was a 10-8 personally, and I think a couple of the judges did give it a 10-8. I think the third could have been a 10-8 as well. I would have scored it the same way as, I think, was it all 3 judges? Some judges anyway scored it 30-26, and I would have agreed with that. But yeah, those uppercuts in the third round, Jake was just not throwing as much in this round. And I don't like to say, I have a great respect for Jake Kelly, but I think he knew with about 3 or 4 minutes left here that if I throw shots, all that's going to happen is I'm going to get hit. So I'm like, I'm going to have to throw less. It almost worked for him at one stage. He landed a lovely counter shot, but it was never going to work against someone like Alves, really, unless he landed a big knockout blow, and that just didn't happen. You know, Jack rocked him hard with a jab. Or Jack hit him hard with a jab at one stage, but again, it wasn't a whole lot there. Then Alves got a late takedown and ended up winning the round and winning the fight. So he advances on and gets to the finale. We will talk about his opponent in a second. The other lightweight fight in, and the person who will be meeting Gadzi Rabadanov is not Brent Primus. And the winner it'll be Alfie Davis. Again, a very close fight though. First round Brent, second round Alfie, third round Alfie is how this went. You know, Alfie started out as southpaw, landed a nice leg kick, and you know, he kind of switched back Brent for a takedown, easily defended, and you're thinking, okay, this is looking good for Alfie Davis. Alfie threw 2 flying knees, landed the second one. Brent went for another takedown, again defended again. Brent pulled half guard and he got it. He pulled guard. Went for the rubber guard. Alfie couldn't get out. Brent caught him in almost Plata, was going for a go Plata, could not obviously catch that. Then he scrambled the top half. About 90 seconds left at this stage, and there was a big ground and pound from Brent as he tried to pass constantly, some nice elbows as well, and he drew blood from Alfie, and you know, Brent did enough to win that round. The second round, it was all different. There was no takedown at all in the second round, even though Brent Primus did try to pull guard a couple of times and get the fight to the ground. Archie came out with a bit of a lower stance, but still throwing head kicks and things like that. Brent did land a nice overhand, and Brent landed a couple of good strikes on the feet as well. But there was loads of kind of hooks and long range shots from Alfie here in the second, and that's exactly what he needed. Brent went for a high crotch, but it was defended against the cage, and Brent jumped down to pull guard again, but Alfie just literally ran away from him. It was the right job, and it was forcing him to stand up, look loose on the outside. Brent went for another overhand or two and didn't land him, but Alfie landed a knee, and you know, Brent clinched from it when it got out quick. Alfie was just landing from range very well. Landed a spinning back elbow late. Brent looked in bad trouble at that stage. Looked like at him, and the clock came at a good time for him. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The third round in, this third round was an odd round. So Alfie dropped him with a check hook. Brent went for a double. It was no good. Pull guard, no good. Alfie landed a hard straight left. Looked really loose. I wrote my notes, and my next two words were too loose. He threw a spinning elbow and then just fell over as Brent Primus was walking towards him. And Brent got on top, got in 3/4 mount, got into the mount. But, luckily for Alfie Davis, Brent didn't do a whole lot. Alfie was able to sweep him and land on top, landed some good ground and pound. And it was more than enough to win in the end. But that gave me shades of Chael Sonnen, shades of Anderson Silva and Luke Rockhold. But in the end, it was a pretty straightforward decision for Alfie Davis over Brent Primus. So it will be Alfie Davis against Gadzi Rabadanov in the finale, which will be very, very interesting. For the bantamweights then, Marcelo Alves will be fighting in the finale against Justin Wetzel. This was Justin Wetzel against Mando Gutierrez. My breakdown of this was about as useless as a chocolate teapot, because our nightmare in MMA is always for real fans is like we have two great grapplers and it's 15 minutes of kickboxing. This was two great kickboxers and it was 15 minutes of grappling, and Wetzel won it. The first round was relatively close. Mando was switching. He was trying really hard for the body lock takedown 3 or 4 times, no good. And he pulled the guillotine again, no good. And Wetzel was on top in guard. He landed some nice shots. The rubber guard again for Mando, just completely ineffective. He landed enough shots to win it, no doubt about it. I don't think that Wetzel in the second round, huge double from Wetzel immediately. He knew where the advantage was and he went back to it. Into side control, but back to guard. Again, Mando went for the guillotine. It's never going to be any good. J-Dub went for the straight arm bar from half guard, then got to guard. Small bit of ground and pound, but again, it was enough to keep it going. Rubber guard helped defend for Mando for a while, but again, some good ground and pound halfway. Wetzel spins all of the second half of the round on top landing punches, and then the ref stood him up. I'm all for stand-ups usually, but this was a bad stand-up. He was landing punches. Mando went for a guillotine again, but no good. So clear second round for Wetzel, a little bit closer in the first, but the third again pretty clear. Mando was attacking for the first 10 seconds and he went for a clinch, which was no good. And his corner sent him break out, strike, and he just wouldn't. I don't know what the story was. Wetzel kind of got into the cradle and then pushed him forward, landed on top, nearly got into the mount. Mandy was just accepting the position. Dan Hardy was pretty harsh on it, but I think he was dead right. He was just accepting his position over and over. Plenty of room for Mando to stand with a couple of minutes to go, and he just didn't. Attempted to get out with a few seconds left, but Wetzel did a good job of staying on top of him. Not a great fight, great performance from Wetzel, great grappling performance from Wetzel, but Mando will look back at this as his big chance that he absolutely blew it. So, interesting now to see the finale and see how that will go as Wetzel takes on Alves. No one would have predicted that, I'll tell you that, at the start of the year. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Then we Jenna Bishop against Ekaterina Shaklova. Very close first round, a very fun first round as well. Both landed hard early. Shaklova went for takedown, but it was no good. Bishop got a trip and went into the mount, took the back, traps the arm, went for the rear naked choke, short choke, but fell off. So great defense from Shaklova. Shaklova didn't get on top in the guard. Bishop swept her and attacked the leg. And got back up to the clinch, and ref breaks it for a foul, and then Shaklova lands a nice combination. Bishop again into the clinch and the trip, lands on the bottom, and Shaklova's in top guard, and Bishop was going for an armbar and then a heel hook, and Shaklova just landing a whole load of shots on top. And when you're landing those shots on top, like, you're winning that fight more than the person that's going for a submission that never comes off, So Jenna went for a calf slicer late as well, but Shaklova just smashing her with elbows from on top. So close round. I'll go Shaklova on that one, but it didn't matter. The second round, there was more respect from both of them. I think both of them thought they could win to start the fight, and then both of them knew they could lose to start the second round. Jenna got an easy takedown though in the middle. She got on top in half, got to the mount, took the back, body triangle, rear naked choke attempt, didn't get it, punches, rear naked choke attempt again, went for a short choke, rear naked choke again, and got the tap. This time did Jenna Bishop at 2:07 of round 2 over Shaklova. So those were the big title fights. So the finales, the three of them will be Alves versus Wetzel, Bishop versus Carmouche, and Davis versus Rabadanov, which is very, very interesting. But the rest of the card, the undercard, let's run through that here pretty quickly. We had Magomedov versus Servagan Hamadov. Very, very close fight. I thought Hamadov won the first round, but again, very close. Strike just looked a little bit better. It was funny, they were talking to each other in the middle of the fight. Magomed pulled a guillotine off a double leg from Hamadov, but Hamadov took the back as he stood up, which happened in the second round as well. But there was a spinning back fist from Magomed late in the first round as well, went for a heel kick where he was just off with it. But Hamadov got an early takedown in the second, to the back and standing again, as I mentioned. Magomedov did a good job of fighting him off, but Hamadov kind of just kept connected in the clinch. There was a few exchanges on the feet. I thought Hamadov was winning some of them, won the scramble to get into the back, and this time it was on when he got the back, it was on the ground and he was looking for the rear naked choke. It was on, but Magomedov easily got out, got to the cradle and landed some knees there. Again, very, very fun scrambles. I thought Hamadov was up 2-0 at this stage. I thought Magomed won the third. He landed some leg kicks. Both landed some jabs. Spinning back fist again from Magomed. Hamadov went for a clinch, but there was nothing for ages. Ref breaks him, rightly so. Again, the spinning back kick this time after some jabs from Magomed, and then he landed a nice right hand, but that was answered. And a long clinch again, basically to the end. I thought Magomed did enough to win the third, but look, the first one especially could have gone either way, so I can't be too mad about it. The fight after that then, Vinicius Cincy, who's a very good prospect, he won in only 1 minute 43 seconds with a triangle choke over Vinicius over Anthony Caruso. So there was an early clinch. Cincy pulled the guillotine, changed to a triangle. Vinny slammed him, but this slam, unlike the other one, was no good. Caught in the triangle and tapped. And that was basically that. But, we saw Cincy earlier on the year. He looks a good prospect. And a very, very good win there. And that was one of a lot of submissions. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 submissions on the night. So, an awful lot for you jiu-jitsu people out there. Another one was from Dara Kelly against Mike Hamill. This was a very, very interesting fight from my countryman and Mike Hamill, who has taken a shot at a few of my countrymen down through the years, but fair play to him, why not? Close first round. Kelly landed a right hand, and he had it cocked early. Mike was fighting out of the southpaw and pushing forward, moving kind of back and forth. Was very close on a head kick, but then landed nice right hand countered it. Hamill. Kelly got into the clinch and Mike kind of won the position, but they got out quick. Mike punched into a takedown unsuccessfully, and they broke out, and Kelly landed some hard body kicks, which were probably the biggest shots of the first round. And he was pushing forward, looked for a few, but kind of failed on a few takedowns. So back and forth clinches. In the last minute, Kelly landed a right hand and a body kick, and they both kind of landed right hands late. Again, close round. Mike, I thought, had the better of it early, and Kelly late, so I think Kelly just about shaded it there. The second round was definitely a Kelly round. Mike went for a takedown attempt early, but didn't get it. It was a break. Left hand by Hamill. Both landed rights, but Kelly's jabs, I thought, were very, very good. Both went for takedowns, both missed, but Kelly was just winning on the outside. He landed a massive right hand at one stage. Mike kind of landed one too, but again, just didn't have the same pop in it maybe. And Kelly did a great job here at this stage of the fight of picking him off. Went and got a double leg, got into the right position, landed some big punches, went for another takedown. Mike went for the darts and they got back up. Kelly kind of dropped to a knee from a punch. He said it was a slip. I don't know. I don't know. It was hard to see, to be honest. But if you thought that was a big one, maybe you could have scored it against him. But yeah, I thought he definitely won that round. And in the third round, Mike went for a takedown, which was no good, and it got to the clinch. They got back out. Kelly again put the jabs together. There was a wizard in the middle of it. Kelly landed on top, took the back, one hook. When it's a one hook and it's a rear naked choke, I know when there's no hooks, they call it either a no hook rear naked choke or a bulldog choke. When it's one hook, I think it's like a half a bulldog choke or something like that. But anyway, he tapped him out with a choke. I think it's on Sherdog as a face crank, if I'm not mistaken. It is. I wouldn't call it a face crank. I wouldn't call it a neck crank. I think it was definitely a choke. But anyway, whatever. Derek Kelly gets to win. Do you know what I'll say about this? There are a few points I would make about this, and obviously we'll talk about it longer on an Irish platform maybe, but not that this isn't Irish, it's worldwide, but you get me. Very good win against a very experienced guy, and I think a fight that you can go back on if you're Derek Kelly, and there's a lot of things that you can adjust on, work on, and get better. And that's a good thing for a guy that athletic at this stage of his career against someone like that. I think he was a bit too open at times, maybe a bit, a bit too attacking at times when he was open. Like, if you put the two of them together, it's a bad kind of recipe, but it was never an issue for him in the fight. It's fights in the future where that could be a bit of an issue. But again, what is he? Jeez, he's only 9 fights into his career or whatever it is like that. Undefeated, an unbelievable athlete, gets better and better all the time, and I can't wait for the future for Donegal's Derek Kelly, not Dublin's, as I said on the broadcast. Then we had a very good win for Ilira Joanna over Saraya Acorzo. That went all 3 rounds. An obvious first round for Arya. Very smooth with her strikes for Arya Stark, Ilira Joanna. She landed a hard 1-2 in the middle of it. Acorzo went for a late clinch, but you could see her bleeding, and Arya took her down late from the clinch. It's like anything she tried to do just wasn't working. She was spamming jabs to start the second. Was Arya. Acorzo was just trying to walk through her, but it was no good. Arya Stark got a easy single leg takedown and got up to the clinch, but she was just dominating there. Got it back down again halfway through the round, got the hooks in, but of course I defended the hands well for ages. The third round in, much slower pace from both, few shots from the outside, which were smart by Ilira Joanna because it set up an easy takedown from a kick. She got to the half guard, landed a few shots, got to guard, landed some nice elbows, landed some shots in the body as well. She was there for over 4 minutes on the ground, so an obvious third round for her and an obvious 30-27 as well. In the first fight of the night, a bit of a star, I think, was born with Nicholas Meck. He got the first round rear naked choke submission over Alan Dominguez, who has fought before and looked good before. He's 9-2 now, is Meck, and this was his second opportunity in the PFL. He fought in 2024 and ended up losing the decision to Kevin Peace. He fought JP St. Louis as well, who's is he a man UFC or am I gone mad? Or is he, I don't know, he's in CFFC anyway, not too long ago. I'll open up that and I'll find out there. But he's fought a good few times in CFFC, yes. He fought Tony Jeffries and a few more of them. That's right, Tyson Jeffries. But anyway, this fight, Alan looked better on the feet from the start. But Meck gets a quick takedown. He's clearly a great wrestler, but and they said he's NCAA whatever champion or whatever. But I would say he's probably not the best grappler as of yet. He didn't get the hooks in quick enough, but his control and his ride game is absolutely amazing. Going for the Kimura twice, didn't get it tried for a rear naked choke, but again, no hooks in. He also crossed his feet when he did eventually get the hooks in, which jiu-jitsu people will tell you is a no-no. But then he did eventually get it, got the arm under the neck and got the rear naked choke. But this guy, look, really great wrestler, looks to be a powerful guy, and if he can get that jiu-jitsu together, I think he can be a real force. So that is my review of the PFL show, and I'm about to hit the sack and go to bed here. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, please leave a comment and all that. It really helps to get the video seen and keep the lights on. So thanks everyone for tuning in. My name is Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.